verse 1 first to get a good understanding. See, now get your Bibles out because we're including our sisters and brothers who are of the Gentile family. Now, the Gentile family represents the Europeans, and Paul is their apostle. So let's turn to verse 1 in the 11th chapter of the book of Romans. Now, we're going to have a beautiful lesson tonight, but we got to give you the background of what we're going to be teaching. So you understand that God is including everybody. So when I said Gentile, that means God is including everybody along with Israel. Now, Israel is the head, and they were the head of all nations, but they did not keep the covenant they made with the Most High, but they followed the profile to see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, let's start at verse 1, Brother Rick.
I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid.
Now, the Gentiles thought that God had cast away his Israelite people because of what they had did to God. But Paul is here to straighten it out. So Paul said, have God cast away his original people, which was Hebrews, from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob now. They are the fathers of the Hebrew nations and the Jewish nations. They call them, some call them Jews, but they're not all Jews. Jews is just one tribe, the tribe of Judah. But there were 12 tribes, you know. And the Apostle Paul gonna tell you what tribe he was from. He's from the tribe of Benjamin, out of the 12 tribes. So then we're gonna let Rick read a few more verses. He said, now have God cast away his people. Now, years ago, I used to debate with the Church of Christ because they thought that God had cast away natural Israel and was going to never deal with them no more. So I used to debate with them about that, showing them, yes, he did cast them away for a season, but he still brought a remedy in, and so he still got his people, you know, because they thought that he had cast away. Now, let's read this letter. This letter is reading like that because there were some Gentiles felt like God had cast away his original people, which came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so I used to debate with them on that very thoroughly because I had to let them know, now God still got his people, but he punished them for the way they carried themselves and dealt with their great king, the Most High Yah. All right, let's read on, Rick.
I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What ye not what the scripture saith of Elijah, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets, and dig down thine altar, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace.
Did you hear that? So they thought that God had cast away his people. And so Paul let them know God didn't cast them away. He still got Israel, his people, because he got me, and I'm from the tribe of Judah, of Benjamin. And so God has not cast away his people. And he used Elijah, who thought that God had got rid of his people. And God told Elijah, no, I got 7,000 of my people still alive, And the 1,000 I got, they did not build, they bowed their knee to a strange God called Baal. See? So he's straightening the Gentiles out because he's the apostle. He can teach them real good. Now, Peter went to him first because he went to Cornelius and he brought him in to the Israelite family. But they got in and thought that God had cast away Israel. And so Paul is straightening them out with this letter. Now read on.
Even so, then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. And if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then is it no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Did you hear that? That the rest of the Israelite family is blind, but the remnant have attained it. That's reading I'm on here now. I'm an Israelite. I'm an Israelite, as well as Paul was one. And I'm here still serving the Most High Yah. See, now, there are many more Israelites like me, but they don't know it because God has blinded them for a season. Now, the blindness is not perpetually and not forever, but they're blind for a season. But being that I'm part of the remedy, then I can talk about the family. See, I know the family because I'm from the natural family of Israel. And so I can talk about my family, my Israelite family, see, because I'm not a Gentile, I'm a Hebrew, and I can talk about my family because I know my family's laws and statutes as well. So you got to understand that there are many more like me that's a remnant now. But even those that like me may not have the full significance of the family because we've been among the Gentiles so long that a lot of the family that's even the remnant is having difficulty. So those that are the remnant, when they listen to me, then I'm going to give them the whole 9 yards of their family tree. And so they know that they still an Israelite. Now, all know this, Israel is from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons, and one of his sons was Benjamin, Judah, Levi, Issachar. So these are some of the names of the family of Jacob. Now, we have to understand that many of them don't know, even the remnant is very small group that know who they are. But it's easy for me to bring the remnant home because they are saved by grace and not by works. See, in the Old Testament, Israel was a nation that worked. They kept the commandments of God, which was works. And that's the reason they was identified. But in the New Testament, there's no more works because everybody is getting saved by faith and not by works. In other words, let me explain that. God is calling the remnant along with the Gentiles by grace. In other words, they ain't got to do nothing to get in, but once they're in, then they got to keep the 10 Commandments, but they come in under grace and faith. In other words, they don't have to do nothing to get in. In the Old Testament, in order for them to be justified to get in, they had to keep the 10 Commandments. Well, now the 10 Commandments is still there, but it's used for the knowledge of sin, not to get you in. See? So the Gentile family don't have to do nothing but listen to Paul. And then once they in, then Paul gonna show them how they can stay in by keeping the 10 Commandments. Because he gonna let them know what sin is. Because no Gentile knew what sin was because they didn't have no law of God. Israel was supposed to teach them what God liked and what he disliked. So they're in now, and the Apostle Paul is going to teach them how to stay in by keeping the 10 Commandments and the Holy Sabbath and these holy feast days. All right, keep reading, Brother Rick. It's going to be very good tonight. Come on now.
All right.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Okay. All right. According as it is written, God hath given them the spirit of slumber, that their eyes may be darkened, that they should not see, and their ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David said, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always.
Now, let's talk about the family. Let's talk about my family, the Hebrew family, that all of them except the remnant is blind to the knowledge, blind to the generations and who they are. They think they are Gentiles too, but there's no black Gentile people. That's Israel. Israel is all a black nation, but the Hebrews, they have a brown and black seed amongst us, but we're Hebrews. We're not no Hammonites. Now we have our brother Ham, which is the people of Africa and the land of Canaan, where they look like us, but we're not part of their family. We're part of the family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, now they look like us. In other words, when I go to Jamaica and I go places like that, well, I look just like they do, but they're not Hebrews. They are the children of Noah, Ham, and they are Shemonites. I mean, they're Ham, and they're Abraham had 3 sons: Ham, Shem, and Japheth. They part of Japheth and Ham, but I'm from Shem. I'm a Shemonite, which was the people in Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we were the people who was the Hebrews. Now, let me explain that one more time because I want you to get it very clear. Abraham had 3 sons. If you on the planet now, you had to come from one of the sons of Abraham. Now, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is from Noah's 3 sons. Now, we got the son called Ham. Now, Ham is the African, so-called African nations. You know, now that word Africa ain't nowhere in the Bible. It was just something that the Gentiles still called them Canaanites. They gave them a name called Africans. And then they told them that they was burnt-faced people. That word African is from the general that they had among the Gentiles, who changed the name of Africa of the Canaan into Africa. See, now they are the children of Abraham's son. Yes, about his name, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Get this, Abraham. I mean, they're the son of Noah. Noah. Let me take my time here. They're the son of Noah. They're Ham, Shem, and Japheth, 3 sons. Now, the African people are from the son called Ham. Noah had a son called Ham. And then he had another son called Japheth. And the Chinese and the Orientals is from Japheth. They from Japheth. But we from Shem. Ham had three sons. There was Noah. Abraham, Abraham, he had three sons again. Let me get this straight.
That's all right. Take your time,
because I'm going to get this for him. Let me get this for him, but
I'm doing good. You're doing good. Go ahead.
He had Noah had three sons. One of his sons was Ham. Now, all the African people is from Ham. They are Hamanites. You understand me? Now, the Shemanites are the people of Hebrew background, and they are the families of the Arabs that we call the Arabs in the Middle East, and they're also the family of the Hebrews. All right, now we had another son. His name is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the family. That's from Shem. And then Noah's other son, he had a son, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Well, they from Japheth. All your Orientals is from Japheth's son seed. Now, Japheth's seed is all the Oriental people you see on the planet, like China and like North Korea, South Korea, and they all are Oriental. Now, you look at them, they still have the same features, but they are from the boy that Noah had, because Noah had three sons again, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Now, we from Shem. I'm a Shemanite. Shem is the father of all the people that's Hebrews and the people who are what they call Muslims. Because Abraham's son, Ishmael, came from a Shemanite mother. See? So Abraham came from a Hebrew mother, and so the Shemanites was there as well. So we're going to work with this. It's going to take a little time.
Yeah, take your time.
To get it straightened out, because it's a big story. But I'm going to take my time. I got to take my time. You got to stick with me now. I can't rush myself, because a lot of this stuff I learned years ago, and I can get it together, but it takes me a little minute, So that's what we got to do now. We're going to go over that one more time so I can clear it up real good, because now I got my mind, sometimes as you get old like I am, so much in your mind that you may not be able to bring it up so fast, but I still got it. Now we got to go again. Remember this. Noah had three sons and three daughters. His sons had three. His sons had three wives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they went on the boat, it was 8 souls on that ark that God told Abraham to told Noah to build. There was Noah's wife there. It was Noah, and then it was Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I got it now. Now, here's what happened. If you're on the planet now, you had to come from one of them sons. But I got to let you know that each one of them sons could produce Gentile people. Each one of them sons, they was all black sons and all black daughters of the laws. But each one of them sons could bring in the world people who we call Europeans. So all your Europeans came from each son. Ham could bring them in the world with his wife. Japheth could bring him in the world with his wife, and Shem could bring him in the world with his wife. Now, the reason they could do it is because Eve and Adam, and Eve is the mother of all living. Now, let me explain to you how they could get in the world. When the wife would get pregnant, all three boys now, when the wife would get pregnant, if while she's carrying the baby, it's a possibility that she can have a Caucasian baby, just like she can have a little black baby, because the pigmentation you get your pigmentation in the womb of your mother. But the pigmentation is not fully developed, then you come forth out your womb as a white Gentile. So now remember that now. They all three could do it because Eve did it because she was the mother of all living. See? So we got people on the earth that's white skinned. We got people on the earth that's light skinned. And we got people on the earth that's brown skinned. But they all came from one mother, which is called Eve. She's the mother of all living. But the ones that came in the world that was not completely brown or black, that means that the pigmentation in the skin did not fully develop. See? And so they came out being white people. So each son could do that. Each son, not just one son. Somebody said, I thought one son. No, each one of them could do it because Eve was the mother of all living, and she was a black woman. And Adam was a black man. But they could produce babies of different shades, because in the womb of a black woman is all the different color shades of human beings. See? Now, I want you to understand that. Now, that's not racist. Don't think I'm teaching no racism. It's just the way the womb works in developing your complexion in the womb. This is not racist. Somebody said, well, no, it's not racist. They could do it. They could all bring forth people of dark brown. They could bring people in the world of brown. And they also could bring in the people in the world that was white, because it's all a pigmentation situation. You know, one time I went to the doctor and I had been taking some medicine. He said, well, the medicine made your pigmentation get light. He said, but it's going to grow back. When your skin grow back, it's going to be all right. So, and that's what happened. When it grew back, the color left. But the medicine hurt my pigmentation for a season, you know. So pigmentation shows us we got to know where pigmentation comes from. It comes from the baby in the womb, see? So I got this thing together now. It took me a minute because I want everybody to see the full significance of what God is doing. Now, and all these people now is on the planet. Now, God is taking the ones who pigmentation then fully developed. He's taking them and calling them Gentiles. He calling them Gentiles. He just used the term Gentile means that your pigmentation then fully developed in the womb to be brown skinned, dark black skin, or dark brown. See? So that means you didn't have that pigmentation working on your behalf. So now we got to understand that. Now that's not racist. I don't want nobody to talk about Bishop talking racist. No, that's reality. That's just the way the womb works. When you're carrying your baby, you get your color in your mother's womb. You don't get it outside the womb. You get it in your mother's womb. So we got to give you the background, you know. And this is kind of tough to do, but that's what happened to human beings. Now remember, God loved all human beings, Satan hates all human beings. He don't care what color you is. He hates you because you're of God. But God loves all the human being family, whether they white-skinned, whether they brown-skinned, or whether they are dark-skinned. Now, we got to show you this here because you won't think I'm telling you wrong. Because some people say, well, how's that thing working? Well, if somebody that's black-skinned, dark black, brown-skinned, if they marry somebody that's got white skin, then you get people which is called the mingled people of the earth, the mingled people of the desert, see, because they mingle between black and white, white and brown. No. So they are what you call the mingled people of the planet. That's in the book of Jeremiah, where it says all the mingled people of the desert, all the mingled people of the world. So this is the way family started in God's world. So I want you to understand that. Now, this is not racist. It's just knowledge. It's just what God wants us to know. So we'll quit having disrespect for one another, but we'll love everybody. We'll love all God's children. He loves them all, and we got to love each other, black and white, brown and white, mingled in black and white. We got to love everybody, see. So it's going to take me a little time teaching this lesson, so you got to bear with me. Now, it took a little time to get it started, because I got it in my head, but, sometimes I got to put it together because I dealt with it so long ago. So anyways, we got that set up. Now, we have to understand that the nation that made up the Hebrew nation was not allowed to mix with other nations. So they stayed for hundreds of years of the same color that they had in the beginning, because they were not allowed to mix. They were not allowed to mix. They had to dwell alone and not be numbered with the nations. Now, I got to read that to you so you understand what I'm saying. Now, Brother Rick, I want you to go over to the book of Numbers. I want you to go to the book of Numbers with me for a minute so I can explain that. Because everything I got to teach, I got to prove it with the book that God sent with us. Now, in the book of Numbers, chapter number 26, I think it is, God is telling Israel that you're not numbered with the nations. See, they're not numbered with the nations. They are a separate nation altogether. That is, I'm talking about the original Israelites, not the ones that spiritual Israelites. But I want you to read what he says here in the book of Numbers, that they got to dwell alone and not be numbered with the nations, because they had to be a pure nation, and they had to be a pure nation because God was dealing with them as a kingdom of priests. Their job was to go to Ammonite nations, Shemanite nations, and all nations and teach them the word of God. So let's get that scripture in the book of Numbers where he said, Israel should dwell alone and not be numbered with the nations. Do you have it?
Yeah,
well,
I got it. 23. I got it. 23.
You got it?
Yes.
Can I read that loud and clear so our listeners can hear it?
Yes, sir. I guess I'll start at verse 9, I guess.
Yeah, now you got to talk a little louder today,
Okay.
Brother Rick.
Can you hear me?
Talk just a little louder to me.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I hear you better.
All right. For this is Numbers chapter 23, verse 9. For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations.
There you go. We're going to be not reckoned among the nations. We have to drive alone. We was not allowed to mix with nations. Now, it wasn't so much because of complexion. is because that we would serve their gods, and they all had gods that was not the real God. They were just statues. So we Hebrews are not allowed to dwell with the other nations and not allowed to marry them, because they would lead us away from the most high God, the real God, to a bunch of statues that is not God. See? So we were the nation that was not allowed to mix with other nations, period. Now, it wasn't racist. It was because God needed us to correct the other nations, and if we mingle with them, then we're going to pick up their laws and statutes and the way they serve the God, and we won't be able to do our job. So that's what it was. Now, we're not, none of this don't teach is racist. Don't let nobody tell you this is racist. This is just knowledge. You know, don't be afraid of knowledge. You can't be afraid of knowledge. You got to understand that's the way that God loves everybody. He loves us all. He don't care about what color we are, but he got to have a pure nation called Israel, because they were the nation that was going to correct all nations. See, and if they went among the nations and married with the other nations who was heathen nations and Gentile nations, well, they wouldn't be able to do the job. See, so he said we got to dwell alone and not be numbered among the nations. See, so that's how this thing works. All right, now we're gonna go back. Let's have to give you a little background, and I hope I didn't mix it up too bad for you. But I think I got it all right once I started really working with my mind, So now we're gonna go back to the book of Romans. I have to give you some background on this great feast. We're gonna come back over in the Old Testament again, but now I got to get you back to Romans so you understand how nations is ruling things, So let's go back here. All right, Romans chapter number 11, we back at verse number 11 now. Let's read verse number 11. Now remember, God said, I have not cast away all my people. I got a remnant still, but the rest is blind for a season until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. In other words, they blind until the Gentiles get their chance to rule on planet Earth. And then when they have gotten their chance to rule, then God gonna turn back to the Hebrew Israel. See? And so I'm a Hebrew, and I got to know my family situation. I got to know what happened in my family, because if I don't know what happened in my family, I can't talk about my family, And my natural family from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I got to know what the family was doing and how they was doing, see? So I always read about my family, Now, that don't mean I'm racist or nothing. I love everybody, but you got to know where you came from. You got to know your family tree so you'll appreciate what's going on. That's what's wrong with my people now. They don't know their family tree, so they're running around doing stuff like a bunch of heathens, a bunch of pagans or something. You know what I mean? They don't know the family, so they're doing stuff, they're disgracing the family because they don't know the family, see? And my job is to teach them who the family is so they'll start acting like princes and not like a bunch of heathens. You know what I mean? See, so we got to understand that, so don't get upset with me, but when I tell you, you got to know something about your family. You ain't no Negro. You ain't no colored people. You are Israel. You are Israel 100%. But you just scattered among the Gentiles because you didn't obey the Most High. But you ain't no Negro. Ain't no such thing as a Negro nation. You the nation of Israel. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is your forefathers. And really the only reason you living now is because God made a covenant with them. Because he said, I would get rid of all y'all because you're a headache. And then remember the covenant he made with your forefathers. He said, I can't do it because I promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that I would not get rid of Israel. See? So God keeps his covenant, keeps his word, you know. So, but I got to teach you the truth. Got to tell you where you come. Now, you got a good nation. It belongs to some people that was kings and princes, and you are a prince yourself, but you acting like a heathen. You know what I mean? Running with your pants all down and doing dumb stuff all over the place. You know what I mean? You know? If you would wake up and realize your family tree, then you would straighten up, and actually you wouldn't have been in captivity, but your forefathers did all this wicked stuff, and you reaping the harvest of their bad behavior. Solomon, all the family tree, David and all them, and all them bad kings that we had in the family. See? So now let's go back here as I work with you on this lesson tonight. Now I got to get you 100%. It took me a little minute to get started. Now we're going back to chapter 11 of the book of Romans. Now Paul wrote this book to his Gentiles. See, somebody had to go to the Gentiles, and Peter went, but he couldn't. He was so much into Israel that he just he couldn't keep on. He had his personality was that I can't be with Gentiles. He was a little what you would call a little racist himself, but he was there because he was just he had read so much about his family and the Gentiles, and so Paul said. So see, I'm sending Paul, the Creator said, because Paul was born among the Gentiles. He's a Roman citizen, you know. So he was born right there among the Gentiles. He knew them all. He knew all these languages because he could speak 14 different languages of the Gentile people. See, that's when he got 14 books in the Bible because he could speak their language. And God sent him to them. So let's go back and talk to Paul again. Now we're at verse 11.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Did you hear that? Salvation is come unto the Gentiles. Now, they didn't have no salvation, but now it's done come unto the Gentiles. See, they didn't have no Gentiles. They was in the world without God, the Bible says. But now God is calling the Gentile people as his people. And we got to love them. And we do love them once we get some knowledge. And once they get some knowledge, they'll love us. See? So Paul is trying to let them know that Israel have not been cast away. God ain't got rid of them. But he's gonna use you because you are gonna provoke them to jealousy. Because they didn't think the Gentiles could ever be anything. So now they know that the Gentiles is their spiritual brothers and sisters. So they're gonna change their idea about the Gentiles. Now read on what he said.
But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy.
Did you hear that? God called these Gentiles to provoke natural Israel to jealousy. Because he said, I'm sick of y'all treating me in a kind of way. So I'm going to go get some Gentiles and I'm going to let them provoke you to jealousy because I'm going to turn all the things over to them that you had. And then you'll realize that don't treat me that kind of way when I take you back home. Yeah? You understand? It's like a woman and you done gave her everything and then she gonna try to act up and hurt you. Then you gonna let her know, well, look, I gave you didn't have nothing when you came to me. And now I'm gonna get rid of you and get me somebody that's gonna treat me right. You know, see, Israel to God was like he said, you're my wife, you're a backsliding heifer, he used to call Israel. He said, you're a backsliding heifer. You're supposed to be my wife. Now you went around here serving all these idols. See? So he said, I'm going to revoke you to jealousy. You done made me jealous with your idols, and I'm going to make you jealous with the Gentiles. Now read that one more time.
God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy.
To jealousy. Now we're supposed to be jealous now because we in this captivity and we are being treated inferior because of our skin color. But we don't really know what's happening to us because we ain't got nobody teaching us nothing anyway. So we really think we just a bunch of Africans or some Negroes or Afro-Americans. You know, every 5 or 6 months they change our name, you know. One minute we colored people, next minute we singing, we black and we proud, and then another minute Jesse Jackson said we Afro-American. We don't know who we are because we blind. But my job is to let you know who you are. You are a Hebrew and an Israelite. That's who you are. Now, that's my job to tell you that. Now, I know it's hard to get you to see anything because you've been in captivity 120 years. And you done lost all your culture, your knowledge, and everything, your money, and you just think you're a Negro. See? Now, he belongs to my family. I'm a family member of yours. And I'm like a big brother to you. And I got to tell you who you are. Now, I hope and believe that you may listen to me. I hope so. I mean, you may not because you only listen to God. The Bible says they don't even listen to me, so don't get too much upset, Robert. They don't listen to me either, see? But you just keep on telling them and doing your job, and you'll be able to help some. Now, read on what he said.
Now with the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness.
Now we the riches of the Gentiles. Well, these Gentiles got all this money because we the one that God took it from us and gave it to them, just broke us to jealousy. We're supposed to be the head, not the tail. We're supposed to lend to many nations and borrow not. And now we got to go to the Gentiles for toilet paper, toothbrush, every minute thing we use. We got to go to some Gentiles to get it with Gentile pictures on the money. We're supposed to be the head of all nations and lend to all nations because we were supposed to be the head nation. But our leaders messed us up. Solomon, all these leaders that we had, they was serving, taking the Most High gold and silver and putting it on statues. So he said, y'all provoke me to jealousy, and I'm going to provoke y'all to jealousy with the Gentiles. See? Now, it don't work on us because we've been in captivity so long, we don't think we're nothing but a bunch of peasants. See? So, but I'm trying to wake you up. You know. Now, if you come on back to God, then He's going to bless you. And He'll straighten you out. Now, read a little more of that.
For I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
Did you hear what Black Paul said to the Gentiles? I'm coming to tell you who you are too. Because the Gentiles don't know who they are. They don't have no literature that makes sense. They was watching the sky. You know, the sun. They thought the sun was some kind of deity. They named all their days after the sun and planets. See? They didn't know until Paul came along. He's educating the Gentiles. They was in the world without God. And Paul is educating them letting them know who they are, so they won't be so high-minded. You know, they ain't supposed to be treating us any kind of way. They enjoying our wealth while we in captivity. See? So they ain't supposed to be thinking that they better than me. You know, they enjoying the olive tree that belongs to us. But we don't know it. We just run around trying to, like out in the wilderness somewhere, I don't even know where we at. See? Because our leaders, when Paul died, our leaders, as long as Paul was living, we kind of knew who we were, the ones that wasn't blind. But when Paul died, there ain't nobody told us nothing. He was running around here with these folks talking about a dream, talking about dreams and all kind of stuff like that. That you'll get a dream and you'll be able to sit down and enjoy yourself. You know, we're trying to get somebody to sit down. They need to sit down with us. We're the ones that's got the original olive tree. See? You know, but that comes because nobody teaches us anything. You know, and we're hard to teach anyway because our attention span is very short. And somebody try to teach them something, and they get to talking about something. Come on now, you are not a Negro. Get that out your head. You're not colored people. You're not black people. You know, you're not Afro-Americans. You are Hebrew people that's Israelites. Your daddy fought for your name. Your name is Israel, means that you got power with God and man and have prevailed. Now, tell your little boy he a prince sometime and just cussing him out. You know, maybe he'll pull his pants up and act like a little prince. See? You know, tell your son you're a prince. And you ain't supposed to be walking around here looking with your pants, showing your underwear, and carrying a gun in your pocket. You know, and maybe he'll come to himself and straighten himself up and act like a prince. Sit up, a heathen. You know what I mean? Now, I'm trying to help you. I'm taking all my time to try to help you. I'm going through all these scriptures, trying to remember them in my head, writing them down in books to help you realize who you are. See? Now, all these holidays that these Gentiles then gave you, you celebrate them. Now, what about the holidays that your forefathers gave you, such as the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Pentecost, the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement? You got all kind of holy days. But you want to keep somebody, somebody that made up about a Santa Claus and an Easter bunny laying eggs. You know what I mean? See? So I'm a little tough on you sometimes, but you need some tough love, baby. Now let's read on a little bit more of this, Rick. We got time. They're gonna stick with us. We're in a holy time, and so let's read a little bit more of this in the book of Romans. Now we'll take them back to Genesis in a minute. But I want to read a little bit more of this in Romans here. Read what it says. What's the next verse say?
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead?
Yeah, I want to get some of them after my skin color, Paul said. That there are some of my own brothers and sisters, if they listen to me, they can get back what Paul is saying to the Gentiles. He's telling the Gentiles. See, Paul told the Gentiles who we really are. He didn't pull no punches. He said, now y'all in because they disobeyed the Most High. But if they come back and want to get in, they can get in anytime they want to because they're the original. They are the original people of God. They're the apple of his eye. There is walls that he look at. They're the real people. And if they straighten up, they can get right back in. Paul is telling the Gentile congregation, because he had to explain to the Gentiles so they wouldn't be so nasty towards Israel, like Israel. The Gentiles became very nasty towards black Israel. They were never supposed to make me no slave. Yes, we had to serve them for a season or because of our bad behavior, but not a slave. Not a slave. You're supposed to be nobody's slave. You ain't supposed to slave nobody. Everybody's supposed to be free. God made people free. He don't make nobody no slave. See? So Paul is trying to teach them how to deal with God's people. You babysitting God's people, and I want you to treat them right. And I want you to get no big head and think that they are inferior to you because they really was over you. That's reading that Gentile bowed down to Peter, and Peter told him, stand up, you're a man like I am. Cornelius bowed down when Peter came to his house. And Peter lifted him up and said, don't be bowing down to me, son. You're a man like I am. You understand? Now, read on a little bit more.
For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but
there you go. They were dropped into our olive tree, into black Israel's olive tree. See, they was drafted into what we had. We the original olive tree. They was drafted in, they was a wild olive tree, drafted into our olive tree. See, did you hear what Paul told them? Y'all was drafted into Israel's olive tree. Y'all was a wild olive tree, but y'all was drafted into black Israel's good olive tree. That's what he told them. Paul taught these Gentiles how to deal with us, but they tore up the letter. They tore the letter up. And when they left it with some pictures, and then we ain't gonna read it anyway because we think that Jesus and all of them was God or something. That's when they put all them pictures in here, so you wouldn't read this chapter. You wouldn't read. You turn it over the Bible and you see all these white folks pictures. You say, man, these should be reading no more. This is white people. But it was talking about you. It was your book, baby. It was your book. This ain't no white book. This is a black book that God has put white folks in with us. Drafted contrary to knowledge. Now they're in now. They are brothers and sisters. And we supposed to treat them good. But we ain't supposed to act like we somebody that didn't exist. They drafted into our olive tree. Come on now. Now it was done to provoke us to jealousy, but yes, we jealous. I mean, any man is jealous about his things that belongs to him. If you got any sense, you know, you don't want no husband that's not jealous of you. You know, If a man ain't jealous of you, then he don't care nothing about you. You know? But if you got a husband that's jealous, now and I'm not talking about crazy or nothing like that. I'm talking about that you belong to him and he don't want you playing around with nobody else. See? You know? And that's called clean jealousy. God said, I'm the jealous God. That's one of my names. God said, one of my names is jealous. And y'all provoked me to envy because y'all took some idol gods and said that they the ones that brought you out of Egypt by night. And I'm the one that stretched out my arm and brought you out and killed Pharaoh who was messing with you and all his soldiers. And this night's supposed to be greatly preserved and greatly done this night, because I brought you out of Egypt by night and the feast of unleavened bread. And we're going to get back to that. Give me a chance. Now read on, Brother Rick. I want to get this here. Now, Paul is telling his Gentile congregation, his Gentile world, how to deal with us. That's reason God is going to have to punish some of these Gentiles because they did not treat us like the apostle told them to treat us. The black apostle Paul told them, so now, you're supposed to treat these people and not boast against the branches. Now read on what he said.
Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith.
Yeah, you understand by faith, yeah. Because of unbelief, we quit believing in God and start believing in heathens, gods. And God broke us off, and he delivered you in. But you ain't the original. They the original. Israel's the original olives. You was actually driving in, that's true. But you ain't supposed to think that you own the tree. You don't own it, you're just driving in to provoke us to jealousy. And we've been jealous long enough. And the reason we is not back with God, because we didn't even know what to do with the jealousy, but call somebody racist or something. We didn't know what to do with it. Jealousy is supposed to make you straighten up and get back with your lover that was taking care of you, not go act a fool and go do some dumb stuff with somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what jealousy is about. You don't get jealous and I'm gonna go out and get me somebody that ain't got no money.
Yep.
Here your husband got a lot of money for you and everything. You can run around and grab somebody that ain't got nothing to give you but a thrill. See? And God got upset about that. Come on, man. You can't treat God any kind of way and get by with it. That's when he's plaguing all these people now. He done aggravated him so bad that he want to do like he did when he destroyed the whole world, but he made a deal with the rainbow, say, I'll never do that again. But he feels like doing it. But he remembers the rainbow, the covenant. See, God remembers his stuff that he promised. He ain't going to promise you something and then lie against it. But he said, but I'm still going to punish you, but I ain't going to kill everybody no more. You know, it repented me that I had to kill all these folks, but it made me so upset. You know, this is God's world. Now, you done went out here and served all these other gods, and you want God to just sit down and don't say nothing about it. He ain't gonna do that. See? Now, I'm trying to help you. And I know you think I'm being mean, but I'm not being mean. I'm just trying to teach you something. Now, read on what he said to his congregation, the Apostle Paul, the apostle of the Gentiles.
For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Therefore, behold the goodness and severity of God. On them which fell, severity, but toward thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness. Otherwise, thou also shalt be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in.
There you go. We get out of this unbelief Negro stuff. We can be drafted right back into our own outer tree. We want to run around and act like the rest of these heathens. Run around and acting like a bunch of heathens. Come on now. You ain't no heathen. You ain't no Afro-American. You ain't no Negro. You are an Israelite. You got power with God and man. Wake up and realize who you are and take the authority. Come on with a spirit of authority. God will back you up. Can't act like a coward forever. Now you're supposed to do everything decent and order, but you're supposed to better yourself. Get an education. Read the Bible. Put on the nice clothes. Put your best foot forward. Make your children obey. Don't let them run around and do anything they want to do. Sit them little kids down and teach them who they are. And make them realize that they got to act like a citizen and not like a heathen. You got all your boys in the penitentiary. Your poor girls ain't got no husbands because all the boys locked up. See? They got to teach your son to get a job first before you can talk about getting married and take care of his family when they come in after him and his wife get married. You have to teach that to your son. He is the head of the family. Ain't no son supposed to be marrying nobody's daughter and running off when she gets some babies. He's supposed to stay there and take care of his babies. Get a job. Get a trade. Get a business. See? But some of this stuff is blamed on these women because they let these boys do anything they want to them and then run on out the house somewhere. Get your self-esteem built up. You're a daughter of the Most High. And you're supposed to be married to a prince, and you're a princess. And you're supposed to act like you're a prince. And all these ministers that you got in these churches need to teach you what I'm teaching you now. And lift up your spirit. Lift your spirit up. Get your head out of your lap and stand up like a man and a woman. But be kind and nice and be obedient to God. You can be drafted right back in. God ain't through with you yet. Don't let nobody tell you God's through with you. He's not through with you. The reason you're dying more than all these other people dying because you acting like a peasant. You got to clean yourself out. Every disease that you ever seen or ever heard about is running after you. Get your hygiene up. Clean up where you stay. Clean up around your neighborhood. Clean up your house. You know, get your hygiene up. And your body gonna feel better. Quit using all these devilish drugs and crack cocaine and all this wicked stuff. It's killing you. Quit smoking these Gentile cigarettes and stuff. Quit tattooing yourself like you're going to belong to somebody. You ain't no cow. You want to get branded. You don't put no brand on you. Your brand, the Most High made you. He know who you are. You don't need no brand. You know, brand yourself with all these different things all over your body, neck. Some of you even put some stuff on your face, like you're a cow or something, like you're a cow. Got brands all over you. And some of them don't really look attractive because of your beautiful skin color. Look like you've been burned or something. Okay. Now you got your special people, and God said, now if you straighten up, you can be drafted right back in. But you got to listen to somebody. Ain't nobody don't take no time like I'm taking time to teach you this. They want you to be so-called Negro, because that's cutting you off from having a nation. Your nation is Jerusalem and Israel. That's where your nation is at. Your nation ain't in France or Germany or something like that. You belong. He said, my people which are called by my name, they are healed their land. And your land is called by his name. And you called by his name. See? If my people is called by my name, I would heal their land. And I would heal their body. And I would just fix them back. They can get right back in. See? So you got a nation, baby. Now somebody occupying it now, but they ain't gonna be holding it long. If you had to straighten up, you'd been back in your own nation right now, but you kept on doing dumb stuff. You kept on listening to these dreamers and carrying on. God told you, don't be listening to those dreamers. Listen to me. See, these dreamers keep you in the same condition you've been in for 2,520 years. 7 times for your sins. In a Hebrew year, is 360. 7 times 360 is 2,520 years. And God said, I'm going to punish you 7 times for your sin. You multiply 7 times 360. 2,520 years. Nonsense. You had all your babies in captivity. All your little beautiful, like black and brown babies. You had to give them a Gentile name. Come on now. Some old name you done made up don't make no sense. These new names they got, I don't know where y'all got them from, but they don't make no sense at all. You know. Now, let's read a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna take you over here. We're gonna take you to your feast. See, now it's not no Easter and ain't no Christmas. You know, it ain't no 4th of July, nothing like that. But you got statutes and judgments. You need a spiritual education. You need a biblical education. You need to pick your book up instead of reading these Gentile books perpetually. Read your book sometime. Now, I'm not telling you not to read other books, because it's beautiful to read anything nice. But once you read what your family wrote down, why don't you read your family information sometime? You read everything but with that in the world, but you won't read nothing about yourself. You delight in every stranger, but you won't delight in your stuff. You see a little Chinese baby, oh, he's so pretty, look at his hair. Well, what about your little baby's hair? Your baby got hair like the Most High guy on his head. See, that's what the Most High said. One of your sins was you delight in the strangers. You want to be like somebody else instead of being like who you are. They supposed to, when your forefathers in charge, everybody wanted to be like you. They wanted to be like you. They came all around the world to be like you. Remember, they came from everywhere to see your king, King Solomon. You know, I was with some Masons one time, some Caucasian Masons, and we got debating. I was debating a lot. And I said, well, he said, well, I said, you know, you got a black religion. You got a black religion trying to, right? He said, what do you mean? I got a black religion. I said, the stuff you're teaching is from black people, King Solomon. So he shut up because he knew what I said was right. He said, well, what about the chief engineer that did the temple for Solomon? So we gave him some blueprints to cut some stones. But he wasn't no chief engineer, he was a laborer. He quit talking to me. You know, Solomon hired them to cut some stones because we weren't allowed to make no noise in the temple. The temple had to be built with no noise. And so he shut up and quit and said, well, how you know all this stuff? I said, well, I know what you're doing. You know, you got people thinking that King Solomon was Caucasian. You know, so he said, you know, he couldn't say nothing because I know what I was talking about. And so he said, all right, he was fixing my bus. I had a bus, and he said, all right, that's pretty good what you said, you know. I said, you know, you want to be a Mason, go ahead, be one. I'm not saying you can't be there, but I want you to know where you got it from. See, you know. See, you understand? You got to know something about your own people. Oh, you're reading about your own people, somebody that was in Mississippi and Georgia. You got people that wasn't in captivity, that was great people, smart people. I don't hear about no black history of Mississippi and Georgia. That was a foreign country to me. When I was a young man, they said, let's go down south. I mean, I ain't got going to no foreign country because I knew how to act down there, and I would have got killed because I wouldn't have been able to handle all that, you know, nastiness. But I never would go, you know. My partner liked to go. He said, man, let's go down to Georgia. I said, man, I'm going back to California. You know, because there wasn't no racism in California where I stayed at. You know, it was all about money. All about those who had some money, neighborhood, Fillmore District, you know, where all the stars came. You know, Little Woody Giants, Sam Cooke, Goose Tatum, you know, all the great baseball players, Willie Mays and all of them. See, so you got to pull your pants up. You got to make your son be a gentleman. You don't want your son hoeing around making babies out of wedlock. You got to teach him to get a nice little, beautiful sister and raise a nice family and go to work and be a gentleman, be a good citizen of society. And don't be running off leaving a bunch of babies for somebody else to take care of them. And don't be making babies all over the place. You got to teach your people. Read your book. This is your book from generation to generation. Genesis and Revelation is your book. This is your history. This is your so-called black history. You ain't really no black. You know, you're an Israelite. Don't call yourself black. Don't call yourself nothing but Israel. Hebrew. Call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. That's what you need to call yourself. And you ain't supposed to be going around doing nothing dumb with that. You know what I mean? See, so now read on. We can read a little bit more of this. I know y'all, I got to take my time because we're in the holy day. We can't do nothing tonight. I don't watch no TV on the holy day. You know, I give that day to God. I deal with things that belong to God on the holy days. See? You know. So stay with me for a few more minutes. I'm gonna give you what you want, but I got to give you background. You can't do nothing without background. You got to have a foundation to build a house. You can't build a house without a foundation. It's gonna fall down. I got to give you a foundation, and that's what Paul is giving you, and he's giving it to your Gentile people. So they'll know how to treat you. This is like the Willie Lynch letter. You know what I mean? But this letter don't pit one group against another one. The Willie Lynch letter pits one group among another. This book shows you that the Gentiles is in, and you in, and y'all are one in the Most High. There's no difference between them and you. They're the spiritual Jews. They're the spiritual Israelites. And you are the original Israelites. They're your brothers and sisters, and you some kin to them too. Spiritually so. So you're supposed to love each other. They ain't supposed to treat you bad, and you ain't supposed to treat them bad. They ain't supposed to tear up your neighborhood, and you ain't supposed to tear up theirs. You're supposed to be kind one to another. That's what the Most High want out of you. See. Now, but you got to know who you are. You can't run around not knowing who you are. They got a history. You got a history. They got a history. Their history is Britain, London. Britain is their real history because Britain was the top of them nations. They were the top of all of them. That's when Germany kept dropping bombs on British in the nighttime because they were jealous of the British because the British was the head of the Gentile family tree. You know? And the other nations, France was a top nation, but Britain was all over the place. It was all down in Africa, you know, with doing business all down and all over in the Middle East and everywhere, over in India and everywhere. The British was. See. And we was British slaves before we became American slaves. But we shouldn't have been nobody's slave. If they had followed the letter of Paul, they wouldn't even never think about making another human being a slave. That's when God said, if you're going to be a slave, I want them to put a mark on you so everybody know you volunteered to be a slave. That's when God said, bore a hole in his ear. He want to be a slave. So when they see him, they'll know that he volunteered to be a slave. Because God made free men free women in all races. Ain't nobody supposed to be no slave. Come on now. We talking about the Most High, man. Come on, man. Come on, get yourself together. Get yourself together. You know, you're great people. You got to start calling. You got to start reading your history a little bit so you can get your self-esteem up. Read about your kings and your queens and read about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, your forefathers, you know. Read about your people. That's your family. I'm supposed to know something about my family. I ain't supposed to be in no family, don't know about them. I'm supposed to know something about my biblical family and my natural family. And I get my knowledge from my natural family by my mother and my grandmother, Dee Dee, and my other grandmother. They tell me something about my natural family. And then I read the Bible about my spiritual family and my original family, my biblical family. And that gives me self-esteem. It makes me stand up like a man and speak authoritative, but to be a decent person. And that's what you got to do. Come on now, you can do it. You can do it. And honor your wife, love your family, and love your family, love your wife, love your children, educate them. Don't let them be hard-headed. Sometimes you got to grab them in their collar, let them know you ain't playing with them. But you ain't supposed to be cruel to them, never. You ain't supposed to be cruel to them. You're supposed to spank them and love them if they're out of order. See? And you ain't supposed to be holding no grudges against your family. And you're supposed to make, if you're a man, you're supposed to have the cleanest place that you can find. I told a young man one time, he said, my wife won't clean up the house. So we clean up yourself. You work for me, and you clean up everything I ask you to clean up. So clean your house up. Clean your house up. Make sure that baby you know how to clean up. I said, you're a good cleaner. Don't tell me the house is dirty. Clean it up. You got 6, 7 kids, man. By the time she gets to taking care of all your kids, maybe she's too tired to clean it up. Clean it up yourself. Okay, Bishop, he said, you know, he used to clean up for me, spotless. You know, so I had to let him know, yeah, my wife won't do this, but my wife won't cook. Will you cook something? That's the first thing my mother taught me how to do, cook something. Grandma taught me how to cook something on a coal stove. You know, there was some potted eggs. I never will forget it. And she said, now cut some onions up in them and put some mangoes in them over there. And then you got to beat them real hard because they'll get stiff on you. Now pour them in that grease and let them settle for That's how I learned how to cook. I could cook a goose because she always was cooking them big old geese. You know, you learn from your parents. You know. Now let's read this one more scripture, Rick. This real scripture here in verse 25. Read 25. 25. Read 25. 11:25. Then I'm going back over here and I'm gonna give you the feast good, and I'm gonna let you go. You know, but I got to give you background. You need background bad. You need to get your self-esteem built up. You need to feel good about yourself. Put your best foot forward. And act like a prince. But don't be high-minded and don't be mean. You act like a princess. You treat one another with love. Love has a multitude of faults. And your wife wants to be your best friend. You know, when men don't let their wife be their best friend, they get in trouble. You know, because the Bible said the eyes of a man is never satisfied. He's always looking somewhere else. But if he got a good wife, she's gonna turn his head psychologically. She ain't gonna touch his head. She gonna do it psychologically with her charm. Because all it is a charm. You know, she got to put her charm on now. What she gonna do? She gonna get mad and go get somebody else a charm. Then the family gonna be all messed up. But she ain't supposed to go get nobody else. She's supposed to use her charm, like the woman that's trying to talk to him. She using charm on him. It's all about charm. It ain't nothing about nothing else. You ain't gonna beat no woman when it comes to charm. She was made for you. You wasn't made for her. She always gonna win when it comes down to the sexuality of the situation. So she gonna use charm on you. The boy wrote that book, Think Like, told women to think like a man, or you better think like a woman. She's the one that got the power of a man. They think about number one thing, and that is a thrill. You got to start thinking like a woman. A woman's always planning, how can I take this guy and make him do what I want to do? See, the mule that was on Balaam, who made the donkey talk, that was a female donkey. And she was saying, look, I done rode you all around all these years. Treat me right. Push him against the wall. And he got mad at her, you know. Female always gonna beat you when it comes to romance, because they was made for you. So you got to think like she thinks. She thinking, how can she conquer you where you'll take care of her? Well, you got to think that's what she after, and still treat her nice, but don't let her conquer you. Don't let her conquer you and make you do something that's going to tear your kingdom down. That's the way that thing works. So now let's read this last one here, Rick. Read it out loud.
For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye...
Paul is saying to his Gentile church, I don't want you to be ignorant of this mystery that y'all in charge, how y'all got in charge. I don't want you to be ignorant. I don't want you guessing it. I want to tell you how you got in charge. Now read what he said.
Lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
There you go, the fullness of the Gentiles. This plague that we're in now is bringing on the fullness of the Gentiles. That's what the plague is doing. It's letting the Gentiles realize that your captivity, your richness can start going away. The plague ain't for no black people. You ain't gonna understand nothing about no plague. You don't own nothing. It's letting the Gentiles realize if y'all don't stay obedient to the Most High, y'all sorry to lose all y'all money and everything, because I'm shutting everything down. That's what this plague is all about. It ain't about you, black people. This ain't about you, Hebrew Israelites. This is letting the Gentiles know that you got to start acting like you did when you have the Apostle Paul as your leader. You got to start giving me obedience, lest your kingdom gonna be coming to an end, and it's gonna be fulfilled, and you're not gonna be in charge no more. Can't you see it? Everything the Gentiles got is shut down. They losing money. They don't have the strong control over the planet like they used to have. The stock market is falling. Their stores are closed. Their restaurants is closed. Everything that they had with the authority, it seems like it's falling apart. God is talking to these Gentiles, letting them know, change some of these wicked laws y'all done passed, because your thing is falling loose. Because if he did it to Israel, remember what he said, if he did it to Israel, he can do the same thing to you. You his spiritual Israel, they was his natural Israel. If he did it to the green tree, what about the dry? You would have the contrary to nature. That's the plague, baby. Can't you see it? Jacob ain't got nothing to do with it. You don't own nothing. That God ain't never said nothing about you owning nothing right now. He said the riches of the Gentiles. Well, the riches of the Gentiles is falling apart. Can't you see it? It's everywhere, all over the Gentile society. It's in Europe, it's in Germany, it's in France, it's all in Gentile nations. China ain't no Gentile nation. You know? China ain't no Europeans. They just look just like Jacob, but they got straight black hair, but they got the black genes. They've been trying to get a blonde hair Chinese forever, and they never could come up with one because the black gene was too strong in them. See, when you see people with this black hair, black mustache, that's the black gene. They can't get rid of that. They can lighten their face up and their body up, but they can't get rid of the black genes in the eyes and on the head. This plague is telling all my Gentile friends, straighten up, get back to where you were when you were saying, God bless America, and when you was putting God's name on your money. You're doing too much wicked stuff now. You aggravating me. And I'm going to bring the fullness of the Gentiles. I'm going to close down the Gentile rulership. Come on, Gentile brothers and sisters. God's talking to you. He ain't talking to dead Jacob or Israel. He ain't talking to us. We don't own nothing. Y'all the riches of the Gentile. Your money ain't none of y'all pictures on no money. Trying to find somebody that was a slave to put them on a $10 bill or something. But most folk ain't gonna want no $10 bill. They're gonna just get a 20 or get 10 singles or 2 5s. You know what I mean? This ain't your day in the sun, baby. Now he's sending this message to the Gentiles, and I mean, you're elevated to see it. Everywhere the Gentiles has been successful, it's being closed down. They said that I'm going to get the fullness of the Gentiles. Read 25 again. Read that stuff again. I'm trying to teach my Gentile friends too. I want them to know that they were doing a good job for a season towards God, but they allowed all these wicked stuff and made all this wicked stuff legal. They let the other little Gentile friends mess the good Gentiles up. The conservative Gentiles is against all this wicked stuff. But the liberal Gentiles are saying, we want to keep doing it. Jacob ain't doing nothing, just standing by doing whatever they see happen. He ain't doing nothing because he ain't supposed to be doing nothing right now. Because he's not in the storage flow now. He getting ready to come up. Now, let's read that one more time, Rick 25. Read it all the way down this time.
For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
Did you hear that? They're getting ready to turn back to Black Israel. Now they're trying to give these Gentiles some more time. They go in there, it's going to be fulfilled anyway. But Israel, you're not in it. You're enemy of this stuff. You're enemy of the gospel. This ain't your day. You're waiting on a deliverer to come out of Zion to put you back on top. You're waiting on Jesus Christ, Yahshua the Messiah. Now, put your mask on, put your gloves on, and try to live a little longer instead of going through the graveyard. But you got some hope because God said, I'm going to open your graves and bring you about your graves. But he really wants you to be living when he comes. He don't want all y'all in the graveyard. He wants some of y'all to still be living, but you got to put your stuff on. You got to cover your face up, cover your mouth up, unless you're going to be dead. See? Now, he loved you, but he gave it to the Gentiles for a season. And the Gentiles, he sent a message to the Gentiles with this plague that y'all better come back to me when y'all say, God bless America. And in God we trust on your money because your fellow Gentiles and passed some laws that's so wicked that is messing up your society. That's for my Gentile friends. I got a lot of Gentile friends. I got Gentile friends that really love me. They did good stuff for me. Gave me money, big money. You know, let me come to their big meetings in some of their schools that they had on how to make money. He used to let me sit in. And the class cost $10,000, but they said, bitch, you don't pay nothing. He just, this Gentile guy was my friend, you know. Had a good Gentile lawyer, you know what I'm saying? I love the Gentile people, you know, but I know what's happened to them because they done let all these other Gentile wicked folk, this liberal Gentile situation, done passed laws that is going to hurt the conservative Gentiles. I really don't have nothing to worry about because God said he's going to send a deliverer out of Zion. And he told me I got an angel going to pick you up and take you to the New Jerusalem. But I would like them to at least keep the kingdom going a few more minutes because it's something I want to do in this situation. So I may have to do it in the world to come, see. But I like to do it now because I got some haters and some critics that think they don't really think I can do things. So I want to do it in front of them so they can see you had the wrong idea about Bishop. He's a different kind of guy than you think he is. Now, that don't mean I want no revenge or nothing, but sometimes you just have to, like Jesus said, I couldn't do too much work in my own town because they didn't have no faith in me. Jesus left a whole lot of sick folk in his own town because they had so much hatred against him. They said, we don't believe in him. We believe that he's Jesus. We believe he's his dad is carpenter and that he ain't no beard or nothing. He ain't got no power. So Jesus had to leave all those sick people because they didn't have no faith in me. You got to have faith in somebody sometime. Don't get mad at them. Don't get hating. Just have faith in them. So the same God that blessed somebody else could bless you. He's of no respect the person. But you got to have a whole lot of faith in him. You got to believe every minute thing he said. And then he'll open the door for you. He can't deal with doubt. That's when he said, where it's 2 or 3 touching and agreeing, I'll be one in the midst. He can't deal with no doubt. Most of the stuff that we do as Israelite people, we start doubting one another, going in the game. You can't do that. You know, always got some negative stuff to put a screw in the engine. See? If we would just work together and quit hating one another and quit feeling negative towards one another, we could get a big job done before the deliverer come out of Zion and turn away ungodliness from Jacob. All right, let's go, Rick, to the book of Exodus. We gave some history. We had to give them some history so they know that this feast belongs to them. We're going to Exodus chapter number 12. This night shall be much deserved. Because this night they brought our forefathers out of Egypt by night. Hallelujah. Pharaoh, who was a Hammonite, had us in captivity 430 years. And he wouldn't let us go. So Moses told us that God gonna plague you with 10 plagues. And every time he plagued him, he wouldn't let him go. So Moses said, there's one more plague and then you'll let us go. He gonna kill your son. He gonna kill your firstborn tonight. And then you're gonna let us go. Now he slept through 9 plagues. But the 10th plague, they killed his son. The death angel killed his son. And then killed all the firstborn in Egypt. God is not playing with us. He loves us to death, but he will not change his mind about our bad behavior. So now, the best thing to do is just obey God. And he's going to bring you out. And this night is the night we came out. 600,000 men. All 600,000 wives and females. all kind of children came out of Egypt by night. And the Bible said this night should be greatly observed. We folks are really, when we get back in church, we supposed to make this night like they make their Christmas, like they make their New Year. We're supposed to rejoice on this night because this is the night that our forefathers came out, who we kin to. They all sleeping in their grave now, but we are their offspring. We belong to them. This is our celebration, baby. This is our holy time. Now let's read this, Rick. Let's get started. We got to read Exodus 12 down to 18. 18 verse. We got, y'all got to stay with us now, because I'm going to have to comment every now and then. Well, let's get started, Rick. Go to Exodus 12, verse number 1.
And the Lord
In the feast of unleavened bread.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man.
Pause for a minute. I'm gonna pause for a minute, Rick. Just a minute. Now this lamb represented Jesus Christ. So we don't use the lamb no more. We don't get no lamb on this night. We don't get no lamb. We don't get no lamb and kill lambs, because some of our brothers and sisters in different places kill a lamb tonight and take the blood and put it all on their doorposts and stuff, because they don't realize Christ is your lamb now. Now, we don't take no lamb, but we do take the unleavened bread. We take the unleavened bread. We have to eat that for 7 days. Unleavened bread. We're not allowed to eat bread that rises for 7 days. But no lamb. Now, I don't want you to go out nowhere. Somebody tell me I'm going to kill a lamb. No. If you kill one, just kill him to eat. You ain't killing him for no religious purpose. You know. And because this lamb was killed different than any lamb ever been killed. See, this lamb was killed different. You know, so don't go around bragging nobody, because sometimes I got friends that, you know, they say, Bishop, I'm keeping the Passover right. I'm getting me a lamb, and I'm going to kill him and put blood all on the place. And one of them took him and killed the lamb and put blood all around his church and stuff, inside his church. And the bishop taught us, and don't be killing no lambs on this night. We had to learn from our bishop, and he told him not to do it no more. Don't be putting blood all in your church, brother. And bishop told me, he said, I had to tell him not to do that no more. I got another friend, he killed a lamb. He got a little lamb that he in a cage, and he got him on the 14th day, and he kept him up until he got him on the 10th day, and he fed him, and then he gonna kill him and stuff, you know. So I do have friends that kill a lamb, but we don't kill no lamb, because Christ is our lamb. Remember what John said, behold, the Lamb of God that take away the sins of the people. So I had to pause on that to let you know. Now, if you're out there and you think you got to kill a lamb, don't do it. You can kill a lamb just to have some lamb chops and stuff as a dinner, but not for salvation.
Right.
See, so listen to that very carefully. Now, come on, you finish reading.
And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make you count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh of that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodded at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Now, we were not allowed to gut that lamb. You were not allowed to take his intestines out. You had to cook him with his intestines still in his body. And you were not allowed to break any bone of that lamb, because that lamb was the type of Jesus Christ. That's reading that soldier when he went to break the bones so that people would bleed and die inside. He broke the one on Jesus' right side, and then he missed Jesus, walked past Jesus, and broke the one on the other side of Jesus. But he wouldn't break Jesus' bone, so he pierced him in his side, and blood came out. His side, blood and water. Because Jesus was not allowed to be broken at all. Now the bone is supposed to be broken in this lamb. So you got to be very careful understanding Jesus fulfilled this lamb 100%. All right, go ahead on.
And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall
go. It's a memorial. Now, you're supposed to read this to your little children and let them know what happened and how they're supposed to be handled. You're supposed to read this as a memorial. This is for your children, and let them know their history. You're supposed to get your little boys and girls around, and you're supposed to read this to them and let them know about their generation and their forefathers who came out of Egypt by night. You're supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to be talking about no Santa Claus to them, that he coming down the chimney tonight. You're supposed to teach this to them at night, that our forefathers came out of Egypt by night, and the angels spared their life because they had the blood on their doorposts and on their door. And this night supposed to be greatly celebrated. Now you sitting on telling them about some Santa Claus and some reindeers, and Rudolph the reindeer had a red nose and all this stuff. But this is what you're supposed to be teaching them. This is your history, baby. You ain't no history of no Santa Claus. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be teaching them, and then you're supposed to give them a gift. When you're teaching them, you're supposed to give them a nice gift so they remember what you taught to them last year. They'll remember it all year. Mama gave me this on the Passover night when our forefathers were down in Egypt in slavery, and they came out, and God brought them out, and this night will be greatly celebrated. You're supposed to tell this to your little Hebrew kids. Now, you got somebody else doing it for you, and they're not the original people that this happened to. You're going to have synagogues all around telling this story to their kids, and you're going to be waiting till Christmas to tell your kids something. Now, they got a bone now coming up on this week, a bone of a lamb. And they're going to sit their kids down and show them this history. But this is your history. This ain't their history. There was no black, no white slaves in Egypt. Wasn't no white people there, period. Because that was an all-black nation. That's Ham. I brought you out the land of Ham. They wasn't there, baby. The only way they could be there, they would have to be a clean leopard. And they would be, somebody might have sold them, but they were not, this story was not about them. Now, they might have put some blood on their doorposts because God said a mixed multitude came out. Some of the Gentiles, some of them Hamanites put blood on their doorposts. You know, because they believed that Moses was telling the truth after 9 plagues. They said, this guy must be telling the truth because, and he's talking about firstborn dying, and I'm the firstborn in my family. Give me some blood. Go kill me a lamb and put some blood on my doorpost so I'll be living tomorrow and I'll go out with these people. There were some Egyptians that were just that smart. But that was not for the Egyptians, not if they wanted to use it. It was for the Hebrews that was in captivity after 430 years. Come on now. You got to know your history. Now, some of y'all that have been to college, got degrees, but you don't know nothing about yourself. You need to go to this college right here. What's the use of being in the world? You know about everybody, but you don't know nothing about yourself. Now, all these synagogues going to be, and all these homes going to be telling this story. But the story ain't about them. It's about you. This night is your night. Now, the world think it's their night because you won't magnify nothing belongs to you because you won't read nothing that belongs to you. So they think your night is Christmas Eve. You know. This is your night, baby. And it's supposed to be greatly, greatly rejoiced. You should have got a piece of lamb and you should have sit down, we're going to eat lamb tonight. The kids may say, well, why are we going to eat lamb, Mama? Because this is what our forefathers ate when they was in Egypt. They need to hear this story. And some of y'all got some nice little kids. Velda got 2 real nice little kids. I love that. They act like they my little children, you know. And I always give them a kiss on the jaw. And I told us, and I buy a little girl a nice dog after her kind. And I want you to, and I'll pay for it. Because they're good little kids. You know, we're going to tell our kids this. Now, this night is a great night. Our forefathers came out. They are the ones that birthed you. Because the reason you're here is because that God brought them out by night and set them free. See, so I want to bring that up to you. That's where it's supposed to be now. Now, the people that got it, they're gonna be telling all their little kids stuff, but they can't tell them this story because they never was in no Egypt like this. You know, but they can tell it because you ain't gonna tell it. That's in the Bible says, if you hold your peace, the rocks will cry out. We got rocks talking for you tonight. You know, so you ain't gonna tell them that. You know, so next year this time, I want you to prepare to tell your children. Well, it ain't too late. You can still tell them because we got a whole week of unleavened bread. But sit down one day this week with your little children. Get your nice lamb bone and read this story to them and build their self-esteem. All right, now read on, finish, Ray.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
Forever, now, you hear that? But forever we supposed to be talking about this miracle for us. How we came out of Egypt by night. We had our shoes on our feet. We had our staff in our hand, and we ate it in haste. Because soon as Pharaoh's son died, when that angel came by and cut his throat, and then and Moses told you to keep your shoes on because we're going to have to run out of here because he's going to be upset, and some of his army may try to hurt us. So be out, let's go out in haste because the angel won't give us time to get out. They're going to be so busy burying their dead or crying over their dead that they ain't going to mess with us. And we can get out here in haste. We got to go out in haste. Now, we got some people talking about we stayed all night. We did not stay all night. Get that out your mind. We went out in haste. We went out very quickly because the Egyptians was upset when they seen their firstborn child dead. Because this angel killed everybody in Egypt, even some Hebrews that didn't have no blood on the doorpost. And Pharaoh, people had already told him, said, look, let these people go, unless we all gonna be dead men. We can't keep having these plagues on us. And Pharaoh wouldn't listen, he hardened his heart. So Moses said, you got one more plague coming, Pharaoh, and then you'll let us go. And Pharaoh said, get out of here, I don't want to hear you about nothing. You know, made Moses leave out. But at midnight, man, he sent to Goshen to get Moses. Moses lived over in Goshen. He didn't live in Egypt. He lived in the suburbs in Goshen. And there was no plague over there at all. See, God separates plagues like he separates people. If you with God, he don't let no plague kill you. If you're not with God, a plague will kill you. Come on now. Wasn't no plagues in Goshen at all. None of these plagues that took place happened in Goshen. Goshen was a suburbs, you know, and but they all have amnesia because God separates his people. God is y'all want to talk about separation. God is a great separator. He's a great separator. He separated the children of God and the children of iniquity. The children of iniquity is Satan's kids in a perverted way. And the children of God is God's kids. They're holy. So you got the children of iniquity and the children of God, holy people. Now, God makes separation when it comes down to his kids and his people if they've been obedient. Now, if they ain't obedient, then they're going to get the same plague put on them that's on the children of iniquity. But if they obey God and do what he said, they're going to be safe from the plague. These people, that's when it's good to read this kind of stuff to your kids, because the ones that's dying, they are doing the stuff, same stuff their captains do. See? Instead of just staying in the house, wearing the mask, if they have to go out to get something to eat or something, and wear the gloves, and keep their dwelling clean, where God can walk around and talk to them and look out for the house. And it's a great separation. Now, as long as we stay with God, we got an extraordinary chance not to be plagued. So we got to be careful who we let come in the house. We got to let some of our own relatives or some of our own people are wicked. We got wicked people in our families. We just have to understand it. You know, we still love them, but we got people in our family do the same thing that the Gentile world do. We got some that smoke dope. We got some that steal and rob. We got some that do great fornicators. We got some of the same thing going on in our house with our relatives that the world got going on in their houses. So when they come, you got to make sure they take the shoes off and have a mask on, because you don't know if they got the plague or not. But if your sister is serving the Most High Yah, it's just a difference. God makes a difference, thanks. He's showing a difference here. If you put this blood on your doorpost, I'm not going to kill your firstborn. But if you be stubborn and don't put it on your doorpost, I don't care, because you're my people, I'm going to kill you too. The angel has got no respect to person. The only thing that keeps the angel out your house was the blood on the doorpost and on the door. Now, I got to get that. I got to let you understand that, because some of us got people in our families that's as wicked as they can be. Just as wicked as they can be. So we've got little homongous sons and homongous daughters. You know what I mean? You know, now we still love them now. But right through this plague time, we got to be very careful that we don't let them make us sick. Now, we still love them. We still going to give them whatever they want. But we want them to come and visit us with a mask on. And most of us know the lifestyle of our family. We can't say, I don't know. You know what they're doing. Because you used to do it yourself. And to God got you converted. See? So we don't want to be hard on you, but I'm just trying to tell you God has no respect to person when it comes down to obedience, you know, but that's when he wants you to do right. Now, we don't read because we're getting ready, we got to finish this up.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses.
Now you got to give it all the leaven. Now don't eat no leaven now for 7 days. Now the best thing to keep from eating leaven is to take all your food that's leavened and put it in a nice clean basket or something with a nice top on it. And we used to put it in the garage. We used to just give it away. Now you can't afford to give everything away now because the way things is going on, you may have to use it when it's over. So put it away. Nobody can get it to eat. You don't want to cause nobody to do something because of your shortcomings on doing the right thing. See? But you don't want no leaveners around you, period. And if you go out, you got to remember that you're in the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because sometimes you'll forget and you'll be bought something sweet, and then I forgot, man, I'm supposed to be not eating this. And you eat some leaven accidentally. So put everything else a safe place until the feast is over. And you'll be all right. See? Now, we usually get rid of all our leaven and we give it out to people before the feast starts, you know. We give it to people that don't keep the feast, regular people in society, and they can eat it because they're not under restriction. You under restriction. You said you are the children of God. So you're supposed to be keeping this thing, you know. So you're supposed to be doing it. Now, your job may ask you, so are you a Jew? You know, I thought this was a Jewish feast. In a kind way, you said, yes, I'm Jewish. And he'll let you, because they ain't as mean as they used to be. So don't worry about that. God will make sure you get off. Yeah. Years ago, we had to be very careful saying stuff like that because they would fire you, you know. But now they ain't trying to fire you. They're really trying to treat you nice because they see the dispensation is coming to a close and they're supposed to go home with you. They're supposed to go with you when you go out of here. You ain't supposed to go out here by yourself. You're too tired to work when you get where you're going. You're so tired. Sometimes I feel sorry for these ladies that got up in their 60s and things, got to go to work every day. I feel sorry for them a little bit because they don't work so hard. Because the man, he's been gone and he ain't making no money and they got to take care of everything. And I feel sorry for some of them. They work so hard. They can't get their nails done. They can't do nothing, keep themselves with their nails because they got to use their hands and go to work. And a man supposed to be taking care of them. So they would be able to keep themselves looking good for him. See, a woman supposed to always keep herself looking good for her husband. See? You know, the Bible says a man can find a good woman, he found a great thing. And he got favor with me. When you find you a good woman, God says, you got favor with me because you got a good woman that you can trust and you're supposed to make her look good and baby her and stuff like that, you know. And keep her looking pretty. See? That's what you're supposed to do. You ain't supposed to have her out somewhere scrubbing no floors and carrying on. You know what I mean? Living no boxes and all that stuff. See, you know, you're supposed to love your wife like Christ loved the church. Christ ain't mean to us. He's not mean to us. He treats us good. And that's what he's supposed to treat your wife. All right, come on, Rick, read up that we almost out. I guess they still with me. I'm going a little too long, but this night is supposed to be a great night. You know, I had to go do some history, you know. Now I'm gonna be back on tomorrow at 12. I'm gonna be on tomorrow at 12, so I'm gonna cut loose here in a minute because I didn't give you a good background and let's read on down, Rick, a few more verses, and then I'm gonna let them go.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day, there should be a holy convocation, and then
let me explain that to you now. Tomorrow, the holy convocation is starting now, but tomorrow is going to be a holy day. So you can only fix what you're going to eat. Don't go buying nothing, but you're supposed to have enough food to fix it so you can serve it tomorrow when I come on at 12. I'm going to come on at 12, and you got to be, have some nice food, the best, you know, and we're going to have a good time tomorrow. I got a beautiful lesson for you tomorrow. Beautiful. Because I got my book that I did years ago, what they did every day during the 7 days. So I'm going to be bringing my book, going through my book, what they did each day of the 7 days that they came out by night. Now remember, they came out by night, they didn't stay another day. At midnight they came out. Moses went and got them, and they went out all night into the daylight, you know, while the Egyptians was burying their dead. Because there was a whole lot of dead people in Egypt because of Pharaoh's bad behavior. So they was going out all night long into the morning, into the day when the sun came up. They was all going out. So this night's supposed to be greatly served, and I'm gonna let you go now. So I'm coming back tomorrow, then I'm gonna explain a little bit more about this. So God bless you. I hope I didn't hold you too long. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the truthmadeplain.com. Bishop said he'd be on tomorrow. I did have a schedule for 1, so just pay attention to the site. We'll have the exact time for sure by this evening. I'm going to talk to him, make sure it's at noon. All right. Other than that, God bless you. Happy feast. Eat your unleavened bread every day. We're going to have a glorious feast. I already feel it's a great feast. We started with a great lesson tonight, and I'm happy. I hope you're happy too. God bless you. Sleep tight. Get some good rest, and we'll see you tomorrow. Amen. Peace.